Thanks for tuning in this week to Muscle Mondays. This week we are going to talk about the psoas. Psoas is a nice small muscle bundled from your arms up, turn to your side, your lower back to the front of your pelvis. So it can actually, go ahead and arch your backs, stick out your butt and say, hey girl, hey girl. If your muscle is tight, this is what it's going to look like, not to that extent. So what it basically wants to do is it wants to hold you upright and it wants to stabilize your pelvis. So today we're going to look at exercises that help stretch that muscle as well as strengthen it. So for our first exercise, it's going to be an isometric exercise. We're going to put that muscle into its range and we're going to hold it there. So all Daniel's going to do is he's going to pull his knee up to hip level. He's going to make sure this foot is extended. Daniel has no balance, so we're going to actually test him out on this one. And he's going to hold this exercise. He wants to straighten that bottom leg because we're not going to crane kick yet. Wait till later, dragon forces go. And he's going to hold that for as long as he can. Typical challenge is actually about a minute long, and then he's going to do the other side because this muscle does run on both sides. We have two different muscles here. All this does is help strengthen that muscle in a shortened range to build up the endurance before we start doing active exercises. For the second exercise, we are going to utilize a resistance band. These resistance bands are the small loops that come in packs of 4. He's using a moderate resistance. All he's going to do this time is he's going to pull his leg up into that same position he was for the static hold, keeping that foot forward, and then back down to the ground. You can go fast, do 5 faster. To help build some explosiveness there, or you can take it nice and slow, go higher reps, and really build up the endurance, feel that deeper burn into that muscle. And then he will do both sides. All right, guys, for our next exercise, you're going to come down to your back, and you're going to try to stop laughing. Daniel thinks he's really funny. He's going to burst out laughing in this take, I guarantee it. And what he's going to do is he's going to put his hands down by his side, and we're going to do kind of a knees to chest or a reverse crunch exercise. He's going to take his knees, he's going to roll up towards his chest, he's going to come back down, tapping his feet, coming back up, and repeating the exercise over and over. This will challenge your psoas because there's flexion going on at the hip, so that muscle is shortening and lengthening. And it's going to lead into our next exercise, which is a leg lift. Daniel did a really good job not laughing, so now I feel upset. I'll try to make him laugh during this video. So what he's going to do is set up for a leg lift, just like we did with our 6-inch hold a couple weeks back. He's going to take his hands under the curve of his lower back, not under his butt. He's going to tighten up. You got it?
Get away from my belly button.
He's got to think about belly buttons, I guess. And he's going to bring his feet together. He is going to flex at the hips, bringing his legs straight up over them. Keep coming. And then he's going to go back down. Can't wait till we do the hamstring flexibility later on.
Yeah, I'm going to be sick.
Yes. And he's going to repeat this exercise again. This is just a harder version of the knees to chest that we just did. You're lengthening the load away from the body, so it's going to be a little bit harder. Our next exercise is actually an exercise I learned in physical therapy to help strengthen and increase the endurance of your psoas. What Daniel's going to do is he's going to bring his knees over his hips.
Do it now?
Right now. Both knees.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
To the point, take your hands up real quick, off to the side, is he wants to elevate his feet so it's a nice 90-degree angle, and he's trying to get some actual room. I'm not going to put my hand under his butt, not too much. But you want to create space here, so you're trying to get the top of your tailbone off the ground. Go ahead and put your hands on your knees. And what I want you to do is I want you to push away, but don't actually go anywhere. So you're pushing with your arms and not letting your legs go.
Okay.
You're going to hold that. As you can see, Daniel's already shaking, so I finally found something to conquer the beast. And what that's really doing is that's engaging that psoas to try to build the endurance. He's going to hold this for about 20 seconds, being sure that he's able to breathe. Can you breathe?
I don't need to breathe.
Okay. And then before he's done, what I want him to do is I want him to switch hands after about 20 seconds. He's going to crisscross his hands and keep pushing, keeping that space in his lower back, so he's still trying to keep those hips off the ground. A little bit harder?
Yeah, it's okay.
Push harder then. And then before he's done, he's going to switch back to the original way. And he's going to keep pressing, stop stopping. And that's going to build the endurance in this muscle. Try to build up to doing about a minute, well, a minute at most, each hand position before you relax down to the ground. Your psoas is a muscle that can complicate things very fast. If you sit down all day, if you have an office job, or you're just lazy and like to sit on your couch, this muscle is going to get shortened because your hips are constantly flexed. That can cause unnatural pulling in your lower back, which we can look back at the beginning of the video when I had Daniel do that arch. That's not necessarily where you want to be in life. You don't want to be in that position. You want your back to be neutral. You want a slight curve there, but nothing major. This muscle will cause that curve to increase in size, increase in degree, and that's where problems occur. So we're going to do a stretch, which is also a test to find out if you have a tight psoas. What I'm going to have Daniel do is pull both knees to his chest and hug them in tight. And keeping one leg in position, he's actually going to let one leg go out straight and fall to the ground. He's going to feel this stretch right down here. His leg, we've already done this 2 or 3 takes, so his leg has fallen a lot further. It started out a little bit higher, so I pushed it down into position. So that way he would actually start feeling it deeper. If I had a table, a stretching table, or a higher bench that Daniel could fit on, it'd be great because his leg wouldn't fall all the way down. What he's going to do is he's going to hold this stretch for a lengthy period of time, 30, 45 seconds. Then he's going to pull this back up. See if he notices any difference between leg to leg, and then he's going to let the other leg fall to the ground. And this leg is going to go down too. So, for those of you that don't have as tight a psoas, maybe you run a lot or you're active, we can actually do another test that's pretty common. So I'm going to have Daniel come up to take one knee. I have Daniel extend his front leg out to about my foot, just so it's more forward. And he's going to stay right here until I fix his back foot. A lot of times people in this stretch, they're just going to try to push as far forward as they can. They're going to arch their back thinking, oh, that feels great. But what we're doing, if you notice, I'm putting him into that arch and that lower back that we talked that we don't want. So I want to pull him back up, we're going to fix that. So I'm going to have Daniel come up on his toe. And I want him to actually take his hips underneath him. So I almost want him to take his butt underneath, which is called the posterior pelvic tilt. And keeping that tilt is when he's going to start moving forward. So we're not going to arch the lower back at all. We're keeping that neutral as we stretch forward. How's that feel?
I'm stretching.
Yeah. Where?
In my psoas.
Which is where?
Right here.
Fantastic. And Daniel's going to hold this. He's going to repeat it on the other side. Again, big point factor, I've said it a couple times, is make sure your lower back doesn't arch. You're not sticking your chest up. You're staying neutral and shifting the weight forward. Don't arch, as I just said. Tuck your butt underneath you and hold that.